Hello and welcome to the Dance Yourself Brave show, where we get real about the struggles dancers face, from confidence battles to self-doubt, and how dance has the power to make us braver, stronger, and more unstoppable in every area of life. I'm your host, Mariana Santos, founder of Brazily Fitness. And whether you're a seasoned dancer, a dance instructor, dance lover, or someone who's always wanted to dance but feels a little intimidated to start, this show is for you. Expect honest conversations, inspiring stories, and simple ways to bring more dance into your life, whether that's in the studio, on stage, or right in your living room. And if you're a dance instructor, we've got you covered with tips on how to grow your dance business, attract more students, and create a bigger impact through your passion for movement. So if you're ready to step out of your comfort zone, own your movement, and dance yourself brave, let's do this. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Dance Yourself Brave show. So today we're going to get a little bit deep, a little bit heartfelt. So I know sometimes I interview guests and stuff, but now I want to talk to you about something that I've been thinking about a lot. So as you know, I'm very passionate about my role with Brazily Fitness, and this is exactly what I want out of life, and I have a really big vision for it. And I think that, when you get into this, the self-development world, they tell you about, how important it is to find your why. Right? And it truly is, because finding your why is what brings you purpose to your life, and it makes things clearer, right? But I think that's something that isn't talked about as much, is how difficult things can be, even when you have crystal clear clarity on what you want. So for me, it's been very clear what I've wanted out of life and what I want to achieve, how I want to help people, what I want my legacy to be. When I die, I want people to remember Brazily Fitness in a certain way, and all about, helping people build confidence and courage. And, that has always been very clear to me. But what I've noticed that isn't always enough, right? I think that something that people don't talk about enough is how hard it can be, even when you do have all that clarity, right? Because sometimes we think that is, the secret. Once you find out what it is you're meant to do, things are just going to fall into place. And I'm living proof that that's not always the case. And while, it's been about 3 years that I went all in, it took me, I've talked about this before, the whole concept of Brazily Fitness came to me, I would say at least 6 years ago, 7 years ago, maybe. And the thought was so big and scary. I would talk to God. I'd be like, hey, God, I know this is what you want me to do, but how? With what money? With what resources? I have no idea what I'm doing. I love to dance. I love to choreograph and love teaching classes. But, what about all this other stuff, the business side, the admin stuff, all the tech and all the marketing and all of that. And it was just so big and scary. And it took me a while to actually jump in. And once I finally jumped in, I started to see, certain doors opening and meeting the right people, and, just things start to flow, right? But the thing is that that's not always the case, because what I've realized that you're never going to achieve, that success that you're looking for until you become the person that you're meant to be along the way. And along this journey, I've discovered a lot of things about myself, right? And things that kind of hold me back, right? Some things that maybe you can relate to. As a fitness instructor, I've been teaching since I was 18. And I always tell people about how important it is for you to, not worry about what other people think, and, just do your best to serve your tribe. And, some people are going to love you and other people are going to hate you for the same reasons that people love you, right? And, try to stay in your lane and try to avoid pleasing everyone. And I always mention how I love this one saying in Brazil that says something like, not even Jesus pleased everyone, so who am I to even try? So these are things I try to tell myself, but I still struggle with that, right? I still feel if people don't like me, then, maybe I'm upsetting them in some way. I don't want to bother people, right? So that is still something that I struggle with, right? And as our brand grows, it's something that I'm going to have to just expect to happen, right? The more people you reach, you're going to reach people that love you, but then you're also going to reach people who are like, you know what, who do you think you are for doing this, right? And I keep thinking like to myself too, like, who does this little Canadian think to be representing a Brazilian brand, right? But at the same time, like, I know that this is meant for me. Like, I know that there's a reason this calling was put in my heart. But what I want to talk about is like the messy middle that happens, right? Because I think that sometimes people go on our social media page and I hear all this time, like, wow, you guys are doing so well. You're winning these awards. And, like I see Brazily Fitness everywhere and that's great. But like, and I'm so grateful for that and I'm so proud of it. But there's so much that happens behind the scenes that doesn't get shown on social media. So I'm trying to, just kind of shed a light on what happens behind the scenes when you're starting a business from scratch, right? Like I mentioned, I don't have a background in marketing and business and all of that stuff. So it's been very much a learning curve, right? So 3 years ago, I didn't even know how to put together a website. Now I do. I didn't really understand what a marketing funnel was. And now I do, right? There have been so many things that I've had to, before ChatGPT, I'd have to find tutorials on YouTube and different things, right? And now ChatGPT is like my top employee that helps me, right? But it can feel like a very lonely journey. And I think that what people don't talk about a lot in this like realm of like following your dreams and chasing big things is the roller coaster of emotions, right? Like one day you're super excited and the next day you're just filled with self-doubt, being like, what am I doing? Like, is it really worth it? Like maybe I should just settle, like, maybe I should just go get a steady 9-to-5 job, right? And just like, you just feel like giving up because life happens, right? I'm a business owner, but I'm also a wife. I'm a mom. There's so many different things that I'm juggling and I'm trying to take care of myself and my health along the way. And it's a lot, right? And I think like, and this is something I've talked to my husband about. I think that what's hardest for me is when I find out a new strategy or, I'm looking, like I connect with someone who gave me like a great tip, like a business tip. And, I do all this work. Sometimes it takes months to put together, certain strategies like funnels and all of this stuff. And then, I get all hyped up and I'm thinking, okay, this is it. Like now things are going to take off and they don't. And then I like get sad and I get disappointed and I think like, okay, well, what do I have to learn from this? And I just have to pick myself back up to get excited for the next thing, right? And I think that roller coaster of emotions is the hardest part. It's just like keeping your faith and staying grounded in your purpose, which is why like finding your why is so important, right? Because on those hard days, I remember what the big vision is, right? It's where I'm going to be one day, what the impact I'm bringing to the world, how I'm going to be helping people. And I know that for that to happen, I have to become a better version of myself and I have to be more resilient, right? And our brand is all about building confidence and resilience and courage, right? So I am embodying that every single day when I'm working behind the scenes, right? On my business because it's necessary, right? So no matter what dream you have, or, like maybe you do want to start a business, maybe you want to go back to school and, like that's scary, or you're looking for a promotion. And I think that it's so important to realize that it's going to feel hard. It's going to feel scary. There are going to be days that you're super excited and other days where you just want to sleep all day. And you're just like, okay, like, and you lose sight of why you're doing what you're doing. And it's normal. That's really what I want you to take from this. It is normal. So that's why it's also important to never do things alone. So with our brand, my most important thing is like, as our instructors get certified, like from the beginning, it's been like, I don't want this to be just another certification that, collects dust and they don't do anything with it, or they don't know how to monetize it, right? Because I don't want instructors to feel like depleted, burnt out, feel like they're just giving and not getting much in return, right? We should, for the amazing work that we do in the world, like we should feel compensated for it. We should have freedom. We should feel valued, right? And so from the beginning, like my main goal has been like, hey, how can our instructors make money doing what we're offering, because they deserve it, right? Because the more money they make, the more people they're going to be able to help, right? So it's just getting out of that scarcity mindset of thinking like, oh, because as fitness instructors, I think that we're so passion led that we forget that we also have bills to pay, right? And passion doesn't pay the bills, right? And it's not greedy. It's not, selfish to want to take care of yourself and take care of your family, to take vacation once in a while, right? To have some peace and stability in your life doing what you love, right? So that's why behind the scenes, I've been, making partnerships, collaboration, so that when instructors do get certified, they feel like they have some direction on how to make money and focus more on what they love doing, right? Which is teaching. So it's so important to feel like you have that support system. So as our instructors get certified, we're helping them like, hey, like this is what I did, try this. This didn't work, try this instead, right? Like just so you never feel like you have to go through these ups and downs on your own, because it is scary. It is even like I said, like there is nothing that I can see myself doing besides this, nothing at all. But I still have those days, right? And some of us, maybe you don't have this much clarity that I do, and you feel like, okay, well then maybe I should just do something else. But I think that if you're feeling that calling from your heart and you think about it before you go to bed, and it excites you when you wake up in the morning, maybe not every day, but most days, it's a sign that you should lean into it. And anything that is worthwhile will feel scary, and it won't always just flow. Like people say, like, oh, like, you find your purpose and things flow. They do sometimes, but not always. And just making sure that you understand how normal it is to feel defeated sometimes. And just to understand that other people are going through the same thing. And sometimes, like I do this sometimes, like I listen to podcasts, like the podcast, like, oh, How I Built This, right? Where it talks about entrepreneurs and how they built amazing businesses and, their struggles, their ups and downs. And that to me, it helps me because it shows me that people, like, they didn't just wake up one day and they have $1 billion businesses, right? Like things take time. And sometimes when you're just reading like a biography on Wikipedia or something, you're like, okay, they went from starting their startup in their garage and then they have this business. And it's like, but usually that in between is missing. It's like, okay, how many times did they think about giving up? And that's what I wanted to bring to this episode today, to show that I'm sure it was many, 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 many times. And another thing that I've learned a lot is that when things are feeling extra hard, it's usually a sign that something big is coming. Like you're about to jump into the next level, right? And you're being tested. Say like, are you ready for it? And something that I learned too, it's like when something happens that isn't, what you expected and it's disappointing, is just smile and say, what a pleasure. Thank you for letting me go through this, and try to pick and choose what you're supposed to learn from that experience. And it's so hard. Like there's some days where you're just like, why am I saying thank you to this? But there's always something, right? So when you shift your mindset from, oh my God, why is this happening to me? Thank you for teaching me this lesson, just switching over to gratitude helps wonders. Now, I'm not going to say it's a cure and automatically you're going to feel amazing, but it is a practice, right? So you have to be, resilient and keep going. And even when you feel silly and it doesn't feel very authentic for you to say, thank you, what a pleasure for me going through this awful experience, just keep doing it, because eventually your mind will start to understand. You'll become stronger. And that's what I've noticed with myself is I have moments that I'm so down, but it's taking me less time to pick myself back up. And I also have an amazing support system, my husband and other people who I can talk to, who remind me of everything I am doing, and just to keep me eyes on the prize, right? So making sure that you have that support system. And, I hope that this podcast can be like that for you, right? When you have days where you're just feeling down and you're losing motivation, and, just listen to an episode and just remind yourself how powerful dance can be and how dance can help you become resilient and more confident, because that's what it did to me. Honestly, I don't think I would be here talking to you today if I hadn't started dancing in Brazil as a super shy teenager, super self-conscious, going through an eating disorder, all these things. I would not have had the courage to start my dream business. Now, is my business exactly where I want it to be? No. But I still wake up most days, 90% of the time, 95% of the time, excited to try, okay, what's the next thing I'm going to try? And I know that I owe that all to dance. And that's what I want for you, right? Maybe dance isn't your career, but maybe there is something something that you've been putting on the back burner that has scared you, right? Like I said, like I had the idea for Brazily Fitness for 6-7 years before I took action, and I was like, hey, I'm going for it. And maybe there's something there for you. So why not do something like dance that keeps reminding you to be flexible, to be okay with, falling down, getting back up, just understanding the journey, right? And understanding that you're not going to have all the answers. And the best you can do is just your best, right? And take things one day at a time. So I hope that this episode was helpful. This has been in my heart to talk about for a while because I don't see a lot of people talking about this. They talk a lot about finding your purpose and finding your why, and they make it seem as if that's the magical cure. Everything will fall into place once you find your why. And I just want to be realistic with you because, for me, it was hard to realize that's just not enough, right? There's so many more struggles that happen once you know what that why is. And I want you to be prepared for that so that you don't think that there's anything wrong with you. That's just what it is like for everyone. So I'm here for you. If you ever, want to chat, you have all my contact information in the show notes. You can reach out on social media, on our website, everything. And I just hope that you never lose sight of how important you are and what you are meant to bring to this world, because I truly believe that each and every one of us, we were put on this planet with a purpose. And I know you have a purpose too. And sometimes fear and self-doubt is holding you back. And sometimes we look at other people on social media and we think, oh, they have everything figured out. And I never want anyone to look at our social media page and think that Brazily Fitness, they're always so happy, they're always so joyful, and they have so much confidence in all of this, when yes, of course we're happy, of course we're confident in all of that stuff, but that doesn't mean we don't also have bad days and that we sometimes get frustrated and lose motivation along the way. That's just called being human. So I think social media kind of hides that human side of us, and I think we need to kind of bring that back, because we're all in this together. We're all meant to grow together, and if we keep comparing our lives with everyone else's highlight reels, we're just going to keep moving further away from what we're meant to do in this world. So I hope this episode was helpful. If this spoke to you, please make sure, if this is your first time, leave us a review, subscribe to the channel, share with anyone who you think might need to listen to this message today, because I really believe that we're in this together, right? There's nothing better than having people around us that remind us of who we are, and because we don't always remember that ourselves, right? So just making sure that we're surrounding ourselves with the right messaging, the right people to continue to grow together, okay? And I hope that you keep growing and working towards your dreams, and I hope that you continue to dance yourself brave. Catch you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to the Dance Yourself Brave show. If today's episode got you hyped, inspired, or just made you want to bust a move, do me a favor. Subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs to hear today's message. Sharing is caring, after all. And hey, don't forget, your courage is already in you. Sometimes you just gotta dance it out to feel it. Catch you next time. Keep shining and keep dancing yourself brave.